Hey guys, how you doing? So, why don't I care about programming languages anymore? It's not AI, by the way. I've learned over the decades, 3 decades now being a software developer, I've learned over the decades that they don't matter. So, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're doing a particular project, if you're building a game engine, yes, the programming language matters. If you're building, a web app, based on Microsoft technology, the programming language will matter, etc. Of course, yes, for the job, they matter. But in terms of learning, in terms of basing your career on, that's not what you do. That's not what you do. The programming languages that you will use in your career prior to AI would change all the time. I have used in my career nine, I used to say 8 or 9, but I believe it's 9 programming languages over the years in building commercial apps. Commercial apps. I don't talk about doing tutorials and messing around with projects. Not that I did many tutorials. As a side note, you should do maybe 1 tutorial, maybe 2 max. That's it. Then you start building real things. That's how you're going to learn. Tutorials are like training wheels. You know, it's like hitting the heavy bag, but that doesn't teach you how to fight. You want to learn how to fight, you got to fight. You want to learn how to be a professional developer, you got to develop. So, I never cared about programming languages. Well, I did when I was a beginner, but as I got more experience, I realized caring about the languages was just a waste of time. It's not important because you're going to pivot from language A to B to C to D very, very often in your career. Now, in the AI game, changes everything. Even in the AI age, I still think you need to know the fundamentals of software development, the fundamentals of coding even. You have to understand what a function is and a variable and data types. You have to understand basic concepts like recursion, for loops, conditionals, that kind of stuff. You have to know this stuff. But what's going to be much more important in the modern form of software development, which is defined by AI tools, what's much more important is understanding architectures, data flows, API integrations, system level thinking, design patterns, basic refactoring so you can look at the code that the AI generate and clean it up. This is the key. The successful implementations, meaning the people who use AI successfully know these principles and implement these principles, and then they'll get a 5 to 10x productivity boost in traditional development. If they don't know the principles, they're going to come up with messy slop code. I'm starting to see it where friends of mine and people I know who don't know coding very well, they don't know software development, they try to do some vibe coding or some AI slop coding, and they get somewhere, but it's a mess. And they hit that 80% wall I've been talking about where, it works pretty good, and then they have to change something, it's a disaster. There are 2 things, and they're directly related, but I always look for with good developers when I would want to hire them or not. I would want to see their code. I want to see if it was simple and self-describing. Simple self-describing code is advanced code. I shouldn't need an AI to figure out what the hell is going on in the code base. That's number 1. Number 2, which is related, the code should be easy to update and easy to maintain. The difference between crap code and good code is easy and simple, easy to update and simple. Crap code is messy and convoluted and impossible to update. If you have any software that has any life to it and commercial life to it, it's going to require updates. It's going to require additions, and it's just going to require maintenance. And if your code base is convoluted slop code, whether you wrote it because you're a noob doesn't know the principles or your AI wrote it, you're going to have all kinds of problems. So what I try to do on my channel is to teach you advanced software development thinking. Advanced software development thinking. That's my my angle here, right? Because I've been doing this for 30 years, and in doing it for 30 years, I understand the games very, very well. And I've taken several products to market, done lots of projects for independent people, independent companies, worked for big, huge corporations developing custom software. Most of the time I was freelancing that. So I was the lead, I was the architect once or twice. Yeah, the biometrics on this card do not work. It's a fingerprint. You gotta wet it, and that gets it to work. Anyway, so there you go. That's the story, man. I'm just here trying to share my 3 decades of experience with you guys. As I said in many videos, I have found in my career personally, I remember, and also mentoring people, the number one issue for people wanting to get into the game is not intellectual. It's not whether they understand a particular concept in software. The number one issue, believe it or not, is psychology. It's always psychology. I was talking to my father about that. He was saying the same thing. He was a teacher for many years. What's this guy doing? This guy's in the wrong lane. He's in the wrong lane. Wrong lane. You're in the wrong lane. There you go. Now he's making my life difficult. Jesus Christ. Makes me laugh. This kind of silliness makes me laugh. Anywho, so I'm just trying to share my life experience. That's why I get into the psychology, I get into the finance. You know, I'm semi-retired for many years now, 25 years. Semi-retired, so anyway. So psychology is the number one issue. It's the number one issue for just about everybody. You have the intellectual capacity. You have the marbles to be able to do it, but a lot of people are, like some of the smartest people I know. Actually, one of the smartest persons I've ever met, and I met billionaires, one of the smartest person I ever met is a total nut job. And because he's a total nut job, he works like he washes floors, you know. There's nothing wrong with washing floors, you know. When I was a kid, I washed floors for a few years. It teaches you to be humble, you know. It's a good training. I've said this for a long time. Everybody should do 2 things in life. They should wash floors for 6 months, and number 2, to earn a living, and number 2, they should do security. Because when you do security and you wash floors, you get the other perspective, and it makes you a better person. At least it did for me. A good friend of mine who, I remember we were coming out of high school and we're doing the floor washing in oil refineries. And he said to me, because of his job washing floors, he did it for like 6 months. It's just a horrible, rough job. Out in the middle of nowhere. And he said, because of that experience young, he said, whenever he went to university to study engineering, he says, whenever it got really hard and he was thinking of quitting, he thought about the floor washing. He said to himself, I'm not quitting because I don't want to be floor washing at 50 years old. So, yeah, everybody should floor wash when you're young, and everybody should do security when you're young. Because when you get on the other side of security, I was a bit of a rebel rouser, you know. So when I still remember, I became a security, I did security at a nightclub. And I started watching drunk people act out. And I recognized myself in those drunk people. And I said, holy moly, what an idiot I was. Or am, or what. So yeah, I stopped drinking at that point. Well, I still drank, but not a huge amount. I didn't get super drunk and acted like an idiot anymore. You know what I mean? That was the key to it all. So anyway, I just try to share my experience with you guys to help you out, make your lives a little easier. So yeah, if you're learning how to code, you're learning to be a software developer, you can't be in love with the languages. The languages are tools. it's like it would be as if a carpenter would only work with a certain type of saw or something. I'm sure you got your favorite saw, but don't fall in love with languages. They're irrelevant. Don't fall in love libraries. They're irrelevant. And in the AI age, you'll switch off from one model to the next. One day you may think GPT is the best. Then 6 months later or 2 months later, you go, oh, you know what, Claude is actually better. Or then maybe Grok is better. It's such a fast-moving target. I think that the models are going to become like the languages in the sense that they'll become interchangeable based on the needs of the job. I'm already seeing that where certain models are much better at certain things than others. And this will change. One day Claude will be better. The next day it's going to be GPT, and so on, or some other model. But the key to modern software development is understanding the whole architecture of development. So you got the traditional stuff that you all know about, languages, frameworks, libraries, but more importantly is the principles, right? MVC, refactoring, separation of concerns, system level thinking and design. That is the key. It's always been the key of advanced development. Advanced developers, that's what they did, right? Only the juniors tinkered around with code. I can tell you, as one of the world's, probably the world's oldest developer. I'm 169 years old. I can tell you from experience that the languages, messing around with languages, looking for some typical clerical error that causes a bug in your code, it's not fun. What's fun is the higher level stuff. So I actually welcome the AI overlords because they make development more fun because you can get to the root of what you want to do here. And that is build a system that works. Now, besides augmenting traditional development with AI, you could also, of course, develop what is called AI-first applications. This is a whole new way of developing apps, which is based purely on AI orchestration as opposed to coding. It's a different way of looking at it altogether. It's pretty darn cool. It's pretty darn. What's this guy doing here? So if you don't know, I'm in Montreal. Montreal is the city of Les Canadiens, Canadian hockey team, and potholes. So I'm going to start mentioning this a little bit more and more often. If you want to be successful in your career, you have to have psychological and physiological, you have to train that as well, not just intellectual. If you're out of shape, you're cognitively impaired. If you're not in shape, you're actually reducing your capacity. So if your normal ability is like here, if you're overweight, out of shape, you're bringing it down to here. You won't feel it because you're already there, but you want to get in shape. That is so important in terms of your cognitive capacities. No question about what's going on here. So get in shape. It's also going to affect your mood, by the way. It's going to affect your psyche. So if you're in shape, you eat healthy foods, you're in a good mood, you will feel better, do better, make more money. You'll be smarter too. So get in shape. How do you do that? Try to walk 10,000 steps a day. Try to do push-ups, micro push-up exercises a few times a day. Drop down, do 10. Then maybe do a few front kicks, whatever you can do, whatever your body can handle. Drink lots of water based on your body weight. Eat natural foods. That's probably the most important thing. That's one of the most important things. Eat natural foods. Keep away from the burgers and the fries and the seed oils, all that stuff. Trust me, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. Yep. If you're bald, shave your head or buzz cut it. And if you're short and bald, you better be in shape if you want to pick up. And there you go. That's my life's advice. Be careful when dating. A lot of tats equals freakiness. So if you like freaky, that's good, but just understand when you're dating somebody who's got a lot of tats, you're opening up yourself to some freakiness. Freakiness could be a lot of fun, but it could also be pretty bad. How about money? The sense of wealth comes down to two things. A, you live below your means. So if you make $1,000 a month, you spend $800 or less. If you make $10,000 a month, you spend $8,000 or less. And actually, I highly suggest once you get yourself into middle class range in terms of earnings, you start making more than that, don't spend it. Just save it like crazy. One of the reasons I have my relaxed lifestyle for 25 years is because of that, because I would just live way, way below my means. There's some years I would save 80% of my income. It's a crazy amount of money. Most people save nothing. Investors will tell you save 15%. I say minimum save 25%, 30%. If you do that, in no time at all, you're going to feel pretty much free of the rat race. And that's all she wrote. All right, guys. All this is useful.